It's on!
That's not how we start this show. There we go. Hello there. I'm Doobie. And then down there is Darth Tony. Shut up, Tony. All right, my name is Doobie. Let's try this again. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Disney Parks Talk Live, the weekly show in which we talk about the week in Disney theme parks. Interesting, if it were a monthly show, we would talk about the month in Disney theme parks. But it's weekly, so we're going to talk about the week in Disney theme parks. My name is Doobie Mosley, co-founder of Laughing Place and wearer of Future World t-shirt. The woman over there is my lovely, talented, beautiful, hot wife, Rebecca. How you doing, Rebecca?
I am very cold. It is not hot. I am not in Florida where it is hot. My sister was at Typhoon Lagoon. I was not at Typhoon Lagoon. I was here where it is not hot.
Those of you who come here often are used to seeing two other people here, Jeremiah Good and Michael Celestino. Jeremiah, unfortunately, cannot be with us today. He is somewhere high above the sky, traveling back to Florida. And Mike Celestino is supposed to be with us here today, so hopefully he pops in anytime now.
Above the sky or in the sky?
Okay. I know that's what I was thinking too.
I misspoke. If anyone happens to be a neighbor of Mike, want to go knock on his door, remind him it's time to start, that'd be very, very helpful. All right, but the person we do have here is the one and only Tony Betty.
Hello.
He is he is our animation expert here at Laughing Place. He is also the person I like more than anyone in the entire world, my entire life. So thrilled to have him here.
Sorry, Rebecca.
The reason he is here today is to talk about the Mr. Toad bucket. So before we get there, just like to remind you that we're live. So if you have any questions, I'm going to put these on because I just can't see. I'm sorry. If you have any questions on anything related to Disney,
those are for correcting vision. Yes.
Yeah, but I hate the reflections. I gotta.
Okay, that's fair.
Any questions on anything related to Disney theme parks? Anything you'd like us to cover? Any just comments like, hey, howdy, hey, or fans on. Thanks for making me notice that. That's what
I've moved it. I've changed it.
So, Tony, early this morning,
because he was right.
Yeah, we were so lucky to have from you some tweets. What did you do this morning?
Well, you said I'm the animation guy, which is true, and I love my rare and more obscure ones. But of course, Mr. Toad is more known for his ride than his animated feature, unfortunately. So I trekked over to Magic Kingdom today to get my hands on the Mr. Toad souvenir popcorn bucket that was released at the park.
Before you describe him, can you quickly give us the process to get him and his price?
Well, he's $30, and he's available through mobile order only. Now, don't trust those cast members either, because they will tell you that he's at the merchandise location in Fantasyland that was formerly Toontown. The big tent, the name completely has skipped my mind now. Big Top Souvenirs. Thank you. Right across from Dumbo. He is not there. He's actually further down near where the character location is greeted. Pete's Silly Sideshow. And that is actually, thanks to mobile order and everything like that, an extremely convenient process. If it were not for mobile order, lines would be wrapped throughout Fantasyland down to Toontown and probably wrapping under the Astro Orbiter back onto Main Street, USA. And people would get in that line anyway, thinking it was for Space Mountain.
Is there any indication they'd run out by the time you'd left, or things were going smoothly?
No. Let's just say that tent that formerly housed Mickey's judges room or whatever is probably chock full of these things ready to go on their way to merrily nowhere in particular.
All right, so take it away. Give us a tour of this bucket.
Okay, well, it's a bucket, and although it is a motor car, where do you think the hole is for the popcorn?
That's what I'm wondering.
I was trying to figure that out.
That's the real reason you asked?
Yeah. It's
right here.
It is?
Oh, it's in the boot.
Maybe it's not. There we go. All right. It's from the back. It's from the top, not the bottom.
Oh, wow. It can hold a lot.
Yeah. Have you used it for its intended use yet?
No. Nobody uses popcorn buckets for popcorn anymore, Doobie. In fact, they give it to you separately also.
Oh, it's colorful. That's nice.
Yes. It's normally like it kind of tastes like Fruity Pebbles. It really is quite tasty, but I don't eat it anymore.
Okay. So back to Mr. Toad. Bring him back up.
Well, there he is right there. He's on the back of it.
Oh, that's nice.
Although that is kind of... Normally the sticker looks better but it is a Mr. Toad sticker they snap on it. But
Cool.
it's
36
Toady,
bucks.
because if you remember, the vehicles were each named after a different Toad character. Hopefully next year they'll give me the Cyril bucket that I want so badly.
I'm looking for the Winnie the Pooh one. That would be.
Oh, that'll come in about 20 years or so.
It would be great if the next bucket released the same way was Winnie the Pooh.
Hey, I know somebody here noticed my clever photograph location when I took pictures and tweeted on laughing_place on Twitter.
That would be me.
Oh.
See?
Yes.
Look where he tweeted from.
That is very clever.
Isn't that clever? By the way, if you are going to the Magic Kingdom and you want to know how to procure one, see, it's in your app. See, it says Magic Kingdom souvenir release, and it says it's going to be available the 1st through the 4th. They list the hours there. You can scroll and see. See, purchase Mr. Toad Premium Popcorn Bucket. A limited quantity are available the 1st through the 4th. They'll give you your little instructions. You prepare your order. You pick it up at Pete's Silly Sideshow in Fantasyland near Big Top Souvenirs. There you go. So
that is also, I will also say, I love the mobile order thing too, because it also limits guests to 2 per order per day.
That is a good point. It makes it a lot harder to get past that.
Yeah, that said, I did see people with an abundance of them, but that's because everybody in their party ordered them individually.
Which is
what you're able to do.
Within the rules.
Which is within the rules, 100%. And yes, I was going to get to this part too, the strap.
I wasn't sure if it would show up well from you. Okay, it does. Cool. There you go. Everybody, you can see. It's cool. I like it.
It's got that check pattern with different toad faces in it.
I will say I would have liked them to have when he has his spiral crazy eyes.
I agree with that. Then you have Popcorn Mania. And then it's got the Walt Disney World 50th logo on it.
Oh, that's nice.
As though, sorry, I ran the keyboard over with the car.
Do the wheels turn on the
They
motor
do. Thank you for bringing that up. I almost forgot to mention that part. This thing, I'm not going to do it right here, but I could roll it on the ground.
Wow.
Like I could drag it also if I wanted to.
And the steering wheel turn or no? Just the wheels?
I haven't tried that. No, it does not.
Okay.
But I showed it to a friend of mine earlier too, and he was just so impressed with the detail on it for a popcorn bucket.
Oh, now I want to have motor car races like Pine Car. You know how you get like the pine wood and you have and then like a little, they need that over in Disney Springs. They could have popcorn bucket races.
Once again, these are available at the Magic Kingdom via mobile order from now through November 4th or while supplies last.
While supplies last.
And mobile order only, and they are $36. Any discounts applicable there that you're aware of, Tony?
$30.
$30, sorry. Any discounts that you're aware of?
No. Not that I'm aware of. I know annual pass is not one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the one we care about.
Yeah.
All right, Tony. Well, anything else popcorn bucket related you wanted to mention before we kick you off?
That we do not know if it's coming to California either. I've had a number of people ask, do you think it'll go to California? And I have not heard.
It's got wheels.
Based on the strap that says 50th Walt Disney World, I'm going to guess no, but it's also just the strap, which can be easily switched out.
There you go.
Tony Betty, ladies and gentlemen, Tony Betty.
Yay! Thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
One more question, Tony, before you leave. What is your favorite popcorn bucket?
That's a good question. I like this one a lot. We have the Mickey Mini, or not the Mickey one. We have the Mickey Mummy one. We have the Mickey 50th one. I like the older, just the round popcorn buckets.
Yeah.
I know Disneyland did a specialty one that was like the vintage popcorn box. I liked that one. But I like the round one, and the one we used and the one we actually like remember to take to the park when we remember to take them to the park is our Kite Tails one, like that. So
Aww.
I like the Dumbo one they did many years ago, but I was a big fan of that.
Oh yeah. I remember seeing the Millennium Falcon one and everybody wanted that one. I'm like, but that doesn't even hold popcorn. Like this at least holds popcorn.
Hey, I have the Millennium Falcon one.
What I'm hoping to see is because if this is a 50th one, more extinct attraction popcorn buckets.
That would be fun.
Gio earlier mentioned he would love to see one shaped like horizons, which would easily hold popcorn.
Yes.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I was thinking of a clear cylinder tube that would have something printed on it, and it could be the teleportation chamber from Alien Encounter. Because I'm the only person on this chat right now who likes that attraction.
Oh, so. I
never forget this chat.
I'm too scared. I'm too
All right. Thanks a lot, Tony. We've got a lot of stuff to get to. We've spent 11 minutes on a popcorn bucket. That's pretty ridiculous. So
bye.
See you later. Tony Betty, everybody. Tony Betty. And we're still, I guess it's just you and me today, Rebecca.
Okay, that's fun. So next up, we've got more food containers.
No.
No?
What's going to be next up? But then we got the breaking pictures just before we went live today.
What did we pay pictures of?
So I've got, next up, we've got Fantasmic. So as everyone knows, Fantasmic returns to Hollywood Studios on Thursday. Tomorrow's a media event for it. And today is a cast preview. But Disney has released the first images of some of the new stuff coming to Fantasmic.
Okay, so if you don't want to know, you have to take away for a bit because we're about to do spoilers. Images.
And it's just images. We're not showing any video here. This is strictly some images.
Who's coming?
So we've got
Mulan.
Mulan here.
Nice.
Very, very
warrior.
Very warrior-y. Not Golden State. We've got Pocahontas here, who's been in Fantasmic, but this is her new segment here, where she, how do they word it? I have some wording here. He paints with all the colors of the wind. That is not exactly what I was hoping to read. Okay.
Oh, that's cool though. I like that.
Yeah. And then we have Moana holding up, I believe that is Flubber. Am I mistaken?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, just glow in the dark Flubber.
Moana holding up a green orb.
Which, by the way, inexplicably, they released a Flubber sweatshirt at the resorts. I am bitter.
So those are three of the new segments coming. The only other thing they've released that I thought was rather interesting is they released 2 images of barges. You know how they have the 3 princess barges? They released 2, one with Beauty and the Beast and one with Prince Eric and Ariel, which have been there, the whole time. They did not release the 3rd barge. I know there's been some speculation that Snow White and the Prince might leave, as they did at Disneyland. So we don't know. I have a feeling we're going to find out a lot tonight. So very exciting for Fantasmic.
Kyle comes in with letting you know that is not Flubber. That is the heart of Te Fiti.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. But as we've known, the new elements for Fantasmic, they're going to be bringing what they're describing as the heroic moments from Moana, from Pocahontas, from Mulan, Aladdin, and Frozen 2. And so we are excited to see how these are integrated into the show. We've seen with the image that they shared of Steamboat Willie's finale arrival that we've got Moana there at the front of the ship. We've got let's try this again. We've got Elsa standing there by the smokestacks. Oh, I do see Mary Poppins over there. I hadn't noticed.
Oh, yeah, there she is.
Pre-show. And I see Snow White and her prince, and the dwarfs are still there as part of this moment in this image. I also note, let's see, Miko and Pocahontas. So yeah, so it is. It's exciting. I am interested to see. I mean, if you had to guess, the guess is that the bubble sequence, right, may have popped.
I feel like that's everyone's favorite part. Maybe they've lengthened it a bit. No, I would guess that we know they've made changes to the Pocahontas sequence. I would not be shocked if they shortened the bubble sequence. And what I wonder about is the Pocahontas sequence was the big action sequence.
Yeah, and I think that's why we're seeing this element of the heroic nature of Moana, of Pocahontas, of Mulan, because it'll keep that same kind of energy that we had with the Pocahontas sequence if they're going for those. I mean, because you look at this, right? And so this is kind of that hand-to-hand combat that we would have seen when we had the island adventure.
But Pocahontas, Disneyland has why am I saying that? Oh, Disneyland has the pirate ship with all its, big stunts. And then Pocahontas in Florida, not quite as elaborate, but he's swinging from place to place. They have that really cool effect of the flaming arrow and stuff.
Mhm.
So I want to know what's going to be replacing the flaming arrow. What's going to be the big stunt? Because that's always very exciting to me anyway. All right, so now back to our regularly scheduled programming, and that is more vessels for consuming calories that no one will actually put anything in.
I just noticed something important about this.
Uh-oh.
Mr. Toad's hand is kind of sharp, and he just jabbed me in my hand. So just be a little careful. But also, it is not microwave or dishwasher safe.
Thank you.
So, yes.
Don't cook soup in it.
All right, Tony, if you, I know there's lots of intricacy in a popcorn bucket. If you discover anything else at any point, just pop in here and let us know.
I will. I will definitely pop in. But also, I was also instructed to tell you guys my other half, why didn't I say the Skyliner bucket? Because it's at least practical, and she likes that one a lot. So the
Ta-da!
Skyliner popcorn bucket. Yeah, that one.
I like the red one.
I've never seen the red one. I've only seen the yellow.
What?
Yeah.
Should I go? Well, I can't go get the red one because I would just leave you and Doobie here alone. And
It looks like this, but it's red.
I assumed, yes.
Okay.
By the way, Kyle. Oh no, I thought you were going away now.
Yeah, he is.
I am.
Kyle points out that the show is now 29 minutes. It had a shorter runtime previously.
Does anyone know what it was? I remember in Disneyland it was 22 minutes. I don't know what it was in Florida.
In the back of my head I have 25, but
Okay.
But
Anyone knows?
Don't quote me on that. And I too, like Gio, am wondering if we'll see any kind of modifications to the dragon. I heard the door down the hall. I wondered if Gideon was coming to correct me on that. But yeah, and yes, it is a frog, so be careful. You could get warped if he stabs you. So there you go. But I'm so excited. I am extremely jealous for those who are there in Florida right now and getting to experience Fantasmic with these new sequences, because I love that show so much.
Oh, I know. I'm not only jealous of those who are in Florida now, but those who will be there over the next couple of weeks and get to see it.
Oh well, yeah, it's gonna be fun. We'll see what's happening.
Yes, we can't either, Brian. We can't either. So exciting! By the way, tomorrow on
there's some new merchandise. By the way.
Tomorrow on Laughing Place TV, laughingplace.com/TV, we're going to be covering Fantasmic all late afternoon / evening in any way we possibly can. There's a media event. We're going to have Laughing Place reporters there, and we don't know exactly how things are going to happen, but however they do happen, you can be sure to get all the latest news and live footage as well as video right on Laughing Place TV. You don't have to try to keep track of videos and URLs and all that. Just go to laughingplace.com/TV. Leave it tuned there, and you will get all the goodness.
And Kyle does support me in my 25-minute runtime previously, now at 29 for Fantasmic. The other thing to consider is I wonder how much more projection mapping that we could see with this, because that really wasn't a thing, right. When Fantasmic kind of first launched. And so now with these new segments, I wonder if we're going to see some of those kinds of elements
really
into
totally change the set almost, just
right
projection mapping. That's
and when you're well, and you think about Moana, right? And you've got these kind of organic items coming to life within that, and then with Elsa, you have the snow-covered mountain, so I'm very interested to see kind of how they utilize those elements as well.
So right now, as Disney fans, we have added projection mapping, a new dragon, and new princesses.
No, I haven't added a new dragon.
So come in a couple of days when we see this show, we will learn how Disney fans are always disappointed.
No, by the way, they do. They said they're going to have projections. So I mean, I know that projections are a thing. Why have popcorn buckets become a thing?
No one markets like Disney.
Yeah, I mean,
no one's buying these plastic trinkets. Let's call them popcorn buckets.
Yeah, but what's really interesting is we still haven't seen it capitalized until most recently in the same way that we've seen it in Tokyo. I mean, those are still more elaborate, and I want to say even more frequent in their releases than we do here.
I blame the newest Disneyana fan club legend, Carlos Siqueiros for popcorn buckets becoming a big thing, and thank you, Carlos.
And we thank him for that. Exactly. Do you want to move on to the other food item?
This is the Kite Tails one that I was talking about. I really liked, and I forgot to also mention the Elliott Dragon from the Main Street Electrical Parade that was recently released at Disneyland.
That one was cute.
It was, we didn't get that. We'd only got the turtle sipper, but we did like the Elliott one. It was just too big for a airplane traveler who doesn't like to check things. Anyway,
okay. Sorry.
Next topic.
Bye. Moving on to other food stuffs. Trader Sam has a new gargoyle mug on its way. Currently,
well, it's here. I don't even know if it's still available, to be honest, but it was announced since our last show, so I included it.
Okay, and this is
October 28th.
And this is actually kind of a different coloration on a previous design. So think of it as kind of design 2 on this item. And I think there are some who anticipate seeing this appear on the other coast, but we don't have official knowledge of that. So want to make sure that if you are a Gargoyle Haunted Mansion fan, that you are aware that the second edition is out. And there you go. That's at Trader Sam at Disneyland Resort.
Next up, also at Disney World, water parks are a huge thing, and we have been waiting for the reopening of Blizzard Beach. Typhoon Lagoon's been around, but Blizzard Beach we've been waiting for. The date has arrived. The date announcement has arrived. November 13th, Blizzard Beach will be reopening at Walt Disney World, which is very exciting. And they have announced that there will be some changes. So let us show you the major change. Pikes Peak, the area for kiddies, will be getting a Frozen look to it. They're going to have Olaf and the Snow Geese, and you can see there, we've got a picture here of what it used to look like. And here's what it will look like. And so the best as we can recall, we've been thinking about this, of the 3 Disney water parks, this is the first time they've had a movie IP as a relatively major part of it, not just merchandise or a character, but actually integrated into an attraction. So that it continues. And I know, Rebecca, you're a huge water park fan. Are you looking forward to the return to Blizzard Beach?
Yay! Yeah, no, I'm very excited. Although I still think Typhoon Lagoon is the better of the water parks. There, it's just more about the theme I enjoy, and so yeah. But I'm excited for it to finally be back. Yay! And then you always find other little things have changed too once you're actually there. Right. So.
And they're also going to have an Anna and Elsa Igloo Castle, which I don't believe they released a picture of. So we get to discover that when the time comes. I
want to address a question over here by Bob Newell. And he says, is there an internet market for this stuff? And yes, popcorn buckets do tend to do well in resale. But what I want to share with you is there is actually an individual who's created kind of a side business with bedazzling and reselling these popcorn buckets. And she transforms them into bejeweled purses. You can see her Instagram is Fantastic Adventures. She was featured in an article on Insider. That's how I found out about this kind of side gig. But she'll purchase the popcorn buckets, be it the Mickey Mouse one you see here. She's also done several of the Mickey balloon popcorn buckets. I think the Figment one, and then she covers it up in all those little sparkly gems, and then is able to resell them for hundreds of dollars as kind of a one of a kind, high end collectible purse. Nifty. I mean, pretty creative. Not something I could do. So I love it. It's fun. Something new and different.
We also like this sipper. It's Miss Tilly from Typhoon Lagoon. And I believe, Rebecca, you were there when this one was acquired. Yeah. I wonder what she would do to these ones with the bedazzling. I think that would look really cool.
Wouldn't that be cool? But I love how the straw can be like, how
so
Miss
clever.
Tilly kind of shoots up water. Yeah. So there you go.
Only every 30 minutes though.
But I was trying to think of some way to put like a little like Lego motor or something in here to where I could just make that happen. Like,
See, you went a little easier. I was like thinking like fountain pump, but
Over at Epcot, January 13th through February 20th, which honestly seems pretty short for a festival these days over at Epcot. But whoa,
Sorry,
that is not
that's
the
my
right
window.
picture. That is the right picture. I have forgotten how to work. There you
go.
Goodness. All right. Over at Epcot. Festival of the Arts, January 13th to February 20th, 2023.
Festival of the Arts. I very much enjoyed. I stopped by this previously. I love the celebration of artistry. This is the one that has the various like paintings that you can step inside and get photos, and the food is always something to look at. Often a lot of my memory of this is we find a lot of like deconstructed items. So they'll take something you're familiar with, break it out into its components, and make it look like a little piece of art. Tasty.
And so they're going to have 2 new food studios, which I love that term for Festival of the Arts, food places. Modern, near Test Track, with avant-garde menu items. I know the place, I know that stand near Test Track, that's where I used to get that avocado toast. That was all very pretty with the flowers and stuff. So I don't know if this is replacing that or different, but that location is where artsy food is. And then they're also going to have Figment's Inspiration Station at the Odyssey Art, Food, and Little Sparks of Magic, which promises to deliver treats and beverages with vibrant colors and flavors. So Jeremiah, who is normally on this show, this is his favorite festival of all the festivals Epcot does. You know, it combines food, really beautiful food, and then obviously art. And I remember when this used to be...
And then in the evening, it has the Disney on Broadway concert series. Right. So this one, I agree with Gio. This is one of those fests that I wish would run just a little bit longer because it's hard to make sure that you can get your trip in during this particular event. But I have loved it. This is also the one where we've seen those beautiful like chalk picture drawings of characters throughout the park as well. So really, I don't know. It's like kind of almost spring. But not quite a celebration. By the way, if you are somebody who enjoys tasty and good-looking treats when you are at Disney World, I want to recommend that you stop by the Disney Hollywood Studios for sure. Because like during my recent trip, wrong screen. During my recent trip, we got to try the monster cookie over at Pizza Rizzo. They had a snickerdoodle with like pumpkin cream. It was like autumn in your mouth. This was over at the Sunset Boulevard fast quick service restaurant. I want to say it was Rosie's, but I'm not 100% for sure. There's also this Enchanted Rose over there that was a really tasty deep chocolate mousse. They had this s'mores type dessert with the celebration white chocolate on top, a white chocolate mint cookie with a mummy. So like I say, I have found over the years that when it comes to good looking, fun, tasty Disney treats, Studios is like my first go-to. And then I will stop by some of the locations at Animal Kingdom. I know Restaurantosaurus will often have a fun cupcake. But like I say, I always make sure that I hit Studios with a sweet tooth in mind. Sometimes it will just be little treat after treat after treat. That will be a day where I have a big breakfast, all sorts of sweet, tasty treats throughout the day, and then a later dinner rather than actual food during the day. I'm sustained by that, not by the sweets.
So very exciting. We just got some B-roll of Fantasmic.
Cool.
And while Rebecca was talking about that, I was previewing it. So we're going to show it to you. Again, if you don't want to be spoiled at all, just close your eyes. This is going to last for just under 2 minutes. We're just going to roll it for you. And I'm going to roll it without audio because it's just not going to come through clearly the way we're hooked up yet. So let's leave it off. But we are going to show it right now. Wrong window.
Oh, looking good, Mickey. Ooh, is it just me or are there a lot more water fountains down there?
And there is a lot of new footage in here. It's not all old stuff. So.
Oh man! Oh, bubbles! There are bubbles! Yay! Oh. I'm loving it. Oh, Tiana.
You can see some of the projections there. It looks beautiful. There's my stunt.
Oh, yay, a stunt, a high-flying Aladdin.
Aladdin. Elsa doing her Frozen thing. Moana in the water. That's cool.
Oh, that is neat. I like that. Oh, look at how those images are moving across the water there.
Some things never change, although look at the background there.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Snow White and her prince remain.
Happy. His princess is still there. Oh, I like how there looks to be more like laser work. Oh, look at those colors in the sky over there. Oh, I want you to rewind to that in a minute. That was really stunning. Oh. The dragon doesn't look terribly different in that shot right there to me.
Yeah, I feel like we would have heard if they were going to redo it, the dragon like Disneyland.
That curtain of water in front of the stage seems more dense to me, but it's been a while since I've been there. What do you think? What do you think, Gio?
Can I talk about that water? Because that's what stuck out to me.
Yeah, there's a lot more.
There's animation here. I guess you qualify.
Thank you. Can you go back to where it showed the water, and I'll go in depth in this.
Let's let this end. It's almost over.
Okay. I thought it was over. My apologies.
And I'll tell you what, anyone missed that, it's going to be in our YouTube later, and I think we'll just show it again in its entirety right at the end of the show. But we're going to back up here. We're right in here, Tony.
Keep going. It was when they had Pocahontas. Okay, let it play again. You can notice it goes a little bit World of Color right there. Boom. It looks like there's a mist screen behind it doing the wall and a new mist screen installed in front of it to give it layers.
Oh, nice.
That wasn't there before. Based on that, that's what it looks like. I could be wrong, but based on that, that's what it looks like.
That is cool, Tony. And then Rebecca,
I agree.
You noticed something as well?
No, I was noticing. I was noticing here with to me that seems like there's just there's more fountains even in that first row, like they're closer together.
Yeah, they're definitely more animated also, because before it would just kind of like go up and down and that, but that was like wave motions and everything.
This is what I noticed, Doobie. Pause right here. Look at the coloring in the sky over that. That was amazing to me. That moment there. Did you see it, Doob? Look right there.
Oh wow.
Look at how striking that is.
That is.
And then and then what appears to be laser with the lava.
Right. From this scene right here is the one that catches me. I'm glad you noticed that.
Isn't that amazing? It's almost like a stained glass sky, right? That is epic.
But that's also going to be fully reliant on there being fog and smoke and stuff there. Otherwise, that won't be seen.
Yeah, but that's a constant dynamic with Fantasmic.
Yep. And the dragon, it looks the same, but completely like refurbed, because the lightning and stuff in the wings looks bright and vibrant.
And while you can't click on this link, I'm putting it here. It's in the chat. It'll be clickable over there. You can view our this footage on this very YouTube channel. So
with music,
you'll be able to hear it. All the music that's included. These are the highlights that Disney is sharing from Fantasmic that is officially coming the 3rd, and is in a few little previews right now.
And Gio, they did have a few seconds of Frozen in there. You can see right there, Elsa doing her Frozen thing.
Her little. So I'm not seeing in this as much as like the projection mapping kind of on that hill behind them as I anticipated, but I am seeing a lot more depth to the visuals in front of it than we've seen before. So I'm super excited about the look.
It's reminding me of when they did Genie at Disneyland's Fantasmic, where Genie interacts with Mickey now and holds him the microphone when they redid it a few years ago.
Okay, I've only seen that once, so it's not really.
And that one you have to be pretty centered, otherwise it doesn't work. But yeah,
I am this has got me
now really I'm excited.
Yeah, right.
So again,
look at that sky.
You can go see this B-roll with audio on our YouTube channel right now at this link. We won't be offended if you leave our show to go watch that. We understand. So go check it out.
Hey,
Oh, look at how
full
tall
circle.
that screen. Oh,
Do you think there'll be a popcorn bucket?
I hope so.
And Gio makes a good point. I'm surprised Disney isn't doing a stream this week. That is kind of their thing lately, is to stream new stuff.
Well,
Nice
maybe
high
it'll be
quality live.
soon. Maybe they're waiting for, they like get a few shows of content so that way they can give you a really neat, show with it. So, oh, Mickey.
Oh, that's exciting. I love the fact that we can get a breaking video like that and show it right in the midst of the show.
That was super, super, super fun.
Thank you, CEO, for pointing out that was there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, that's taken up a lot of our show, so we're going to cut out some of the fat and get to a couple other things that we're not quite done. No, I'm still here. I can see that look, Benji. Christmas is beginning to come to the parks and the resort, so we have a picture here for you. Some unknown person was kind enough to.
I took these, so I'm back.
And no tree yet, right, Tony?
No tree was there yet, no.
But I have seen pictures of the topiary, so I had to tease Tony that he didn't get any pictures of that.
I felt so bad.
Was like, Tony, where are my pictures of Mickey and Minnie in their stocking hats? But he said,
I didn't think anything of it. I was already back on the monorail platform at that point because the sole reason I went today was. But so I get over there and I just found a nice surprise and saw some of the Christmas stuff already up and ready because November 1st in Central Florida means Merry Christmas.
Does that also mean that we have the beautiful music box soundtrack as well?
I didn't hear it yet. No.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they'll probably wait till that tree gets installed and then we'll probably hear that.
Man, that is like.
Or at least the party start, I should say.
That is the best.
At Hollywood Studios, they didn't even wait for November 1st. These pictures were taken back on October 27th. And
I get to stay because I took these ones too.
Their Sunset Boulevard stars, which I think one of my favorite Christmas looks, because I know Hollywood like this. I've been to Hollywood during Christmas time and seen it look like this. So I love this about Sunset Boulevard.
It was really only Sunset Boulevard at the point I took these. Echo Lake, which I know in recent years has become a hub of activity for the holidays over there. That is not set up yet, but the two screens for their little moments that they have on Sunset Boulevard are already up and ready. One of them being the new Fantasmic billboard. Even though the billboard's been there for a while and the art is different, it still serves as an LED screen. And then you have the other one over there by Rosie's All-American Cafe, which will be used as well.
Since you mentioned that, let's show off that billboard real quick.
Okay, yeah.
And then,
all right.
But as we all know, my rule is that it isn't Disney World Christmas until the ornament kick line appears.
Which I looked for that one for you.
I am still on the kick line watch.
I forgot the topiaries today, but I did look the other day for that ornament kick line and didn't see it.
There's like this list of things that I like. It's November 1st. This is what I have to look for. I have to look for. It has the Grand Floridian gingerbread house construction begun? And yes, I have seen evidence on Twitter that's begun. Is the ornament kick line there? Not yet. And are Mickey and Minnie in their stocking caps and the topiaries? And yeah, yes, they are. So cool. It's that time of year.
And something new.
In Florida, this was my favorite time of year, and here it's my least because it's so cold.
Something new this year for the holidays, I don't believe these places were open a year ago. And that is the hotels of Flamingo Crossings have announced their holiday doings with they start November 11th, goes through January 2nd. Sorry, my notes say February 2nd, but it's January 2nd. Typical lobby decor, trees, stuff like that. They're also going to have interactive activities, building gingerbread houses, ornament decorating, stocking decorating. For $20, you'll be able to meet Santa Claus. And the best part for Mike Mack, holiday happy hour. And I wanted to make sure to include this because among the hotels are the Homewood Suites by Hilton and the Home 2 Suites by Hilton. And I believe, Rebecca, you just stayed in one of those, right?
I did. I stayed in the Home 2 Suites by Hilton right here in Flamingo Crossings. My friend Anita had booked it because her usual go-to right there across the street from Disney Springs was booked up. So we wanted to give one of these a try. And we were at Home 2 Suites right there at Flamingo Crossings. It's about 10 minutes from the door of the hotel to Coronado Springs, to give you some idea. It's on that western side of Walt Disney World. I will tell you, I was super impressed with the Home 2 Suites. It includes a breakfast, and that breakfast had some pre-made egg omelets that you could select from, but it also had freshly made Mickey waffles, both the little ones or the bigger ones. There were a variety of muffins and bagels, obviously juices, yogurts, a few different kinds of fruit. It was a rather expansive spread. This Home to Suites is more of an extended stay. So we also had a full kitchen with a full-size refrigerator, microwave, dishwasher. And the way that it's designed is very thoughtful. I've written a piece. I'm going to be sending it over to our editor this evening. But I've written about my experience there because I was really impressed with the size of the room and the way the room is designed. It is really well done to have kind of a living space and a sleeping space. And overall, just the amenities with the plentiful parking, which I appreciated, as well as a pool with a water slide that stays open extended hours. It was open even into the evening, the water slide there, which is not as common and sometimes can be frustrating because you end up coming home from the parks and the water slide's already closed. And I'm sorry, but my kid wants the water slide. So it's cool when maybe it can still be open later into the evening. So they did have that there, and it's staffed. So like I say, Home to Suites, Flamingo Crossing, there's a Target pretty much in the parking lot, like less than a mile away. They have a Target. They have numerous eateries. Five Guys. We hit Five Guys. There was a brewery there. There's a Ben and Jerry's. There's a Pieology. So lots of really convenient eating, and the room was set up so beautifully. We'd grab the food, go over, and just relax, and it was nice. We would eat breakfast there, and then head over to the parks, spend the day at the parks, and then come back and grab a late dinner at one of those kind of fast food places and relax with feet up, chill back at the hotel, enjoying our meal in the space there. So, if you're looking for some off-property locations, consider Flamingo Crossing.
It's kind of like off-property. I mean, it's so close.
No, it's like right on the edge. It's like 2 minutes and you're already on property because you're backstage Kilimanjaro Safari. but yeah, and as Gia points out, that is a very, very small. It is the smallest Target I have ever been in, but it had everything we needed. So, and an attached liquor store. So.
Next on today's agenda, so we got some good news and some bad news coming out of Tokyo DisneySea, and we're going to show you a video while we talk about it. They put out this video of Fantasy Springs. It's a new port coming to Tokyo DisneySea. They announced the names of the specific areas. They're going to have Frozen Kingdom, Rapunzel's Forest, and Peter Pan's Neverland. And each of these areas will include a new attraction and restaurant. And Peter Pan's Neverland will feature 2 new attractions. And I'm so sorry, I'm buffering here. But it'll pick up. And then it was confirmed that the name of the resort hotel will be attached is Tokyo DisneySea Fantasy Springs Hotel. Very, very creative. And while Fantasy Springs was initially set to debut in 2023 fiscal year, it's now been delayed until spring 2024. And the cost of the project has risen from 1.7 billion to 2.2 billion, or as our managing editor put it, it rose the cost of a DCA. So, but it's beautiful. If you can see, it looks pretty beautiful here. They don't tend to do things halfway at Tokyo DisneySea. And so pretty soon, in a couple of years, about a year and a half, you'll have a new port there, Fantasy Springs, and can't wait to check it out. Hopefully, I have yet to check out DisneySea, but I'd like to check it all out now. And I love this video. This video is on Tokyo DisneySea's official website. We also have it playing on Laughing Place TV in a pretty regular rotation if you want to check it out.
And if you haven't checked it out yet, right here on this very YouTube channel, actually, you can also find it by going to laughingplace.com/TV. We have a 24-hour Disney news channel now where we rotate through the various breaking news stories so that you can keep up to date on what's happening throughout the Disney company. But we also include wait times at the Disney parks. So, we all as Disney fans check those wait times when we're not at Disney, kind of curious what's going on, how big are the crowds, that type of thing. So we've got those posted there. We've also got some fun word games that'll pop up periodically along with the weather. So be sure to check out laughingplace.com/TV. It's in beta. We're kind of, working out a few of the bugs, but we really appreciate you stopping by there. Let us know what you think. We're looking for input. What did you enjoy? as you were taking a look at it? And is there something that it didn't have that you would have liked to have seen? Let us know that as well. And as Gio points out, when we're live here on our YouTube channel, it'll also appear over there. So you'll be able to see it. But once this is done, then it'll go back to that rotation of content. So one of the things I really like is when you have that graphic that shows the longest waits of the day. And so you can see kind of which attractions had the longest waits throughout the day. So it's a lot of fun and constantly updating. It is a very vibrant and dynamic location.
For example, right now you can see, or in the rotation right now, is this pretty fun video. I don't know if you've seen, I know you've seen this, Rebecca, but Disney's been pretty good with their TikTok. I must admit, Disney Parks TikTok's pretty good. Check it out. Although I think this is an Instagram, but it's probably on both. And this is a fun video they did by all, it certainly seems to be real, where they're going to cast members, ostensibly probably for some other reason, and then letting them know that they made the opening team of Tron. So you can go check this out, like I said, on Disney Parks Instagram, or if you watch LPTV, it'll come up, and with audio. And it's just really fun to see how excited these cast members are. You'll be able to see it in their face in just a moment at finding out that they're on opening team of Tron Light Cycle Run next spring. There it is. I don't know, something about seeing cast members being that excited about getting this job, you know, the magic is most definitely still there.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. As someone who has had friends and family apply or be invited to opening team, it is something special to be a part of, bringing the magic of a new attraction or experience to guests. And I love that they're letting us see that. So it's really, I love what they're doing with their Instagram, with their TikTok, kind of, you know, taking us, it covers that hole that is missing without that inside Disneyland stuff we used to get on the Disney Channel. Because I'm not watching the Disney Channel as much with Disney Plus now, you know, part of my rotation. So it's nice to have these little interstitials like this that, you know, kind of a throwback to that Walt style of building excitement towards, you know, what's up and coming by giving you a little bit of a sneak peek, and in this case, letting us see the excitement of the people that we're going to encounter when we get there.
All right. One other thing I wanted to mention, and then, like I said, we're going to show the Fantasmic again before we close, but between our last show and this one, certain Bob Chapek has made some news, and everyone and their brother has had their thoughts on that. I don't know if you have any thoughts you wanted to share. You don't have to. I don't. We have another member in this room right now who may decide to who may decide to say something. There wasn't a whole lot of news coming out of it. It was more just getting into Bob Chapek's thoughts on certain things. So I know you followed it closer than I did. Is there just anything you wanted to parrot about what Chapek said about the parks? Not necessarily analysis, but just regurgitate what he said.
No. It's just I will never cease being surprised at how little kind of magic speak Bob Chapek uses, considering he's been with the company as long as he has. Because he was with Disney Parks before, you know, moving into this role as CEO, and so I'm just. So I guess that continues to surprise me, but I get that it's not everybody's strong suit. Not everybody has kind of that entertainer in them. I mean, in all honesty, Bob Iger was a weatherman, you know, so he has kind of that on camera invitation, hospitable nature to him. Whereas, you know, that's not really Bob Chapek's background.
Michael Eisner is so naturally charming. It's just built in, you know. Having
met him, I'm eager to actually kind of meet Bob, because we had the opportunity to chat personally with Eisner, having encountered him in the parks. We chatted with Bob Iger, having chatted with him in the parks. I had encountered other executives over the years, and since we moved away from the Disney theme parks around the time Chapek kind of came into office within the theme parks. He is one of the few executives that I haven't actually had a kind of a person-to-person experience with. So all of my experiences with him have been in these formalized interview settings, or when he's on on camera, and he just constantly, as far as like from the fan perspective, kind of steps in it. And so there's this part of me, I tend to kind of cheer for the underdog. And don't get me wrong, I understand he's the CEO of the Disney company. He's hardly the underdog. But when somebody constantly is getting kind of heaped on him all the accountability and seemingly none of the praise, I start to bristle. And kind of that's where I'm at with
Sure.
Bob Chapek, is that, you know, I really want to see. I'm concerned about the way the economics of the company are impacting Disney parks. I understand the Disney company is very large, and I understand that sometimes that means that maybe one arm of the company is weighing down other arms of the company. And I don't care as much about those other arms of the company, because while I understand that they fuel and are the lifeblood of what becomes what I love about the Disney parks, that, you know, the movies and the having good quality, enjoyable films is what brings good quality, enjoyable shows to the parks. You know, it tends to kind of, you know, be the symbiotic relationship there. But for me, ultimately, I've been a Disney parks fan. And so when I see, and I get the impression that maybe there's not quite the same investments going on in the parks, or I see decisions being made that, to me, I'm question long-term how it will impact. I can see the short-term value, but I'm unsure on the long-term impact. You know, that's where, as a Disney parks fan, I'm kind of like, okay, take my breath, you know.
That's a really good point, and I'm not smart enough to answer this question, but you know, every CEO has their visions for the company. I can't, off the top of my head, think of a vision for the theme park aspect of the company that's as drastic a change as Chapek's with his I don't know what term he uses, load management or whatever, but I mean, that's a big change, a conceptually big change to theme parks. And I don't know if Iger or Eisner I guess Eisner did tons of expansion, but you know, that's a big thing that Chapek has for his vision for the theme park division of the company. And so we shall see where that turns out.
Yeah,
expansion is pricing.
Yeah, as CEO who's in here and does keep that, he said Michael and Bob one's vision for the theme parks was expansion. Michael Eisner particularly expanded a ton, and then Bob Iger did a ton overseas. And then he says Chapek's is pricing, which, you know, it's a little harder to expand when you've already expanded, and COVID certainly didn't help.
And I'm currently very unsure as to what Chapek and his associates define or measure as a good guest experience. I'm kind of unsure what's the goal.
Right.
And
the
so
goal is making money.
I'm eager. No, but I'm curious to know what they think I expect for my money. And that's kind of where I'm unsure right now.
They clearly care about the long term too, and the long term means satisfying guests. And we do not know by what measure they want to satisfy guests. Clearly, they want to use dynamic pricing and load management, as he constantly says. So the family from Iowa, get out of here. So the family from Iowa has a great experience, not just the regulars, but the crowds are still there. That family from Iowa is still waiting in hours long lines and such. So again, how they're measuring it, we don't know. And you know, everyone and their brother has talked at length about Bob Chapek. That's not what we're here to do. I just did want to mention it, since that has been a major story over the past week, and you can read tons of analysis, including from our own CEO, who recently wrote an article.
Well, and the other question I have as a Disney Parks fan is, right now we have this kind of odd time frame, because we have so much pent up demand because of COVID. I mean, especially on the West Coast, the parks were closed for a more extended period of time. But also, you know, in Florida, we had international travel unable to, you know, really come to the States for a period. So it's hard to really
gauge. Now.
Right. But so it's hard. You can't. I'm hesitant to look at the fact that parks are crowded and correlate that with satisfaction. You know,
but parks can only be so crowded because they have load management now.
So Well, no, and I don't even know. I don't even know specifically what that means, because that's all dependent on all sorts of dynamics, because you've got employment stuff going on, and I'm not even sure how to measure the parks right now because of Genie Plus and Lightning Lane and the dynamics that they're bringing into play, because I don't know the ratio of one to the other. So it's such a different type of dynamic. As a Disney Parks fan, I'm not as jumping on the bandwagon of vitriol that I see, because that's just, by the way, that's not who I am. I never have been. I tend to be a Pollyanna. If I don't like it enough, I just won't go anymore. But if I do like it, and I'm going to just make the best of what I have when I'm there.
And I'm definitely I do not like the load management because it affects me. But as far as the company as a whole, I'm going to wait and see. I have my doubts, but I also fully assume I can be totally wrong on that. So we shall see. But CEO, what did you want to say?
Well, so I think what's interesting, there's a couple of things. One is, at the Wall Street Journal thing, he was specifically asked about park expansion, and he sidestepped the question. And, you might go like, hey, the parks are busy. There's no question that parks are performing well, but they don't have any money. Like, they don't have any cash. They have not declared a dividend since COVID started. They're still paying down the 21st Century Fox acquisition. So unlike a movie, which is a capital investment that you recoup pretty much when it's released, attraction or major park expansion requires a lot of money that's going to take years to recoup. And I think you kind of got that sense at Josh D'Amaro's D23 Expo presentation when he says, here's some things we're thinking about. The reason he did that is because it's not approved by the board yet, and the board doesn't have the money to approve it. And none of that balance sheet issue is technically Bob Iger's fault. He didn't initiate the 21st Century Fox acquisition. Sorry, Bob Chapek's fault. And obviously he didn't cause the pandemic. Although I'm sure there's someone on social media who feels he did. So, it's the answer to all of these demand issues is create more supply. I mean, that's obvious, but you got to have the liquidity to do that.
And where my frustration as a consumer lies is that there's a sense that I'm paying more for less.
No, I understand it from a consumer standpoint, it's garbage, and you can't, but and I think Bob Chapek's struggling, basically being honest. And I'm not saying he's trying to lie, but he's not going to go to the consumer and be like, hey, we're playing off Disney Plus, we have no money. And that's
which is an impossible thing for a consumer to understand. I'm not saying it's false. I understand Wall Street's a whole different world, but the concept for just Joe Blow consumer, Disney has no money. Disney can spend whatever money they want to. They're a blank bill. You don't have to correct me. I know you're right. Everyone knows you're right. I'm just speaking as a. I'm. Speaking
I get it, and that's I would say
never understand that. And Chapek, I hope, understands we will never understand that, and doesn't try to make decisions and appease that person, because it's incomprehensible from everyday person that Disney can't open a theme park tomorrow if they want to.
Sure, but I think the challenge with Bob, and I like Bob personally, not that we're buddies, but he's always been nice and kind, which doesn't make you a good CEO, but it makes he's not the devil, but
breaking news.
I think the issue is he has a hard time communicating, despite his intention to do so, to fans in a way that speaks their language. I mean, and Rebecca mentioned it, I believe, earlier. Like, he doesn't talk the talk. He doesn't come from parks. And Disney fans are used to park talk, even though most people at Disney don't stop, even in WDI, don't talk like, they don't say cast members and guests. They say customers and employees. It's the studios never had that. That was part of, Van Arsdale France and Dick Nunes. So it's not the overriding culture people think it is. It's not the Disney culture. It's the Disney parks culture. And I think it's frustrating to see him just not have that moment where he can just give the fans a gimme. like Bob Iger did. Obviously he spent a lot of money that he didn't really have to buy Pixar. I mean, he had more money than Disney has, relatively speaking, had more flexibility than Disney has now. But he also was able to engineer the Oswald deal, which was more of a statement about that. The fact that he knew that Oswald existed, right? That was the statement. That he was able to take something that cost Disney nothing. Al Michaels was going to go to NBC anyway. He was able to turn it into a marketing, a PR win based off of, someone's knowledge at Disney that, hey, what could we get from Universal? Something they don't even know they own.
And that's something Bob Iger did so well. I don't remember Bob Iger in the beginning. My sense is he did not. He evolved very, very well later on. But something he always did very well is he knew the company, present and past. He could always, off the top of his head, tell you about all the projects that were going on, like you mentioned, Oswald. And that is just so endearing to see him at a shareholders meeting, no matter what question came up to him, to be able to speak on it. Endears a CEO to fans more than they may realize, and I hope Chapek gets the chance to get some moments like that.
Yeah, and the challenge, I think, is I don't know that I think he knows what's going on at the company. I don't question. He knows what movies are coming out, which is what he, obviously he knew what the parks were because he was leading it. But what I don't think he necessarily has the flexibility to do right now is to do things like, well, let me give you an example. One thing he was, and he didn't get credit for it necessarily, but maybe he should have, was the plane, restoring Walt's plane. And, it's not obviously Oswald where the CEO is getting involved, or at least it's not pulled that way, but he obviously knew about it and supported it and funded it. And I think, there's not that many of those options, at least, I mean, I would have never thought of the Oswald deal myself, so it's not like I can just say, oh, here's what you got to do.
Right.
I will say, too, the other thing that Chapek is dealing with that Bob Iger didn't have to deal with is people in the investment community really putting pressure on him to deliver an increased stock price. I keep wanting to say Jeff Loeb, but that's a Marvel guy. But the Loeb Capital man is got somebody on the board, is really pushing for strategic changes to Disney. And so you could now, maybe someone like Bob Iger would be like, screw it, we're going to do what we think is right. But I don't know that Bob Chapek, and I will say Bob Chapek has stuck to his strategy, but he may be a little bit more hesitant to do something just for fun. Like we're restoring Walt's office just for fun or whatever.
Opening up an ice cream shop just for fun.
What's that?
Opening up an ice cream shop in Hollywood. Just for
that was Dick Cook, but yeah. And those things don't always equal out on a balance sheet, but they become cultural. And you got to be careful. You don't want too many of those because that could, because every time you go to Walt's office, someone goes like, well, why don't you restore Rory's office and the 902 Men's office? Well, then the whole lot becomes a studio, museum, which isn't really what it is. And
for me, I'm kind of in a quandary in that I feel like the COVID impacted the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World, and yet I feel there were plenty of missteps even without COVID. And then the next opportunity that they had was D23 and the parks event there, and couple that with the various announcements that followed in days and weeks after. I feel like there's a disconnect between Disney, I'll say corporate communications, and the Disney fan base and the types of messaging that might win them brownie points.
No, but it's not just, I mean, I think we underestimate the value Xenia brought to Disney.
Well, can I interrupt you real quick? That's an important thing to mention. Is not only did Bob Iger leave, but there are people that left with Bob Iger that we don't know their names that make a huge difference in the company.
And the one you just mentioned would have been the person who was responsible for a lot of the conversation that Disney would have to the public, would craft those announcements, would do a lot of that, and there's a certain value that was lost with her bank of knowledge, her breadth of experience when she left as well.
Right, and then you bring in Jeff Merrill, who lasted a good 10 seconds, and then you bring in another person from
who famously slipped a date
right
out to the public and then left shortly
yeah,
after.
if the wrong nomenclature at least once. So
Yeah.
I mean that and I'm not trying to put any of these people down because I don't mean
Right,
it that way,
no.
but it takes a while to learn these things, and you're trying to learn a company, a culture, pitfalls that only Disney has, right? Like at Paramount, if someone accidentally tweets the wrong release date, no one cares. But
I'm sure somebody cares, just
well,
not to the same extent.
No, it's not going to become a Disney thing where he's mocked on social media. But
it's tough to work for this company.
No, it is, especially when you're coming from the outside. But I will say, the one thing that I will give Bob and his team credit for was, and he did reach out to us, a representative from us, other fan sites, along, while he was doing his Variety, Hollywood Reporter, New York Times media tour, and gave them an opportunity to have an off-the-record conversation to get to know him, but as well as get, understand their perspectives. And, it's obviously, the cynic would say, well, that's he's trying to get you on his side. Well, absolutely, but that's what he should do. He shouldn't get you on your side.
I wonder,
I
mean, that is laudable, to be sure. Laudable, is that the right word? But I wonder how it would have gone, at a shareholders meeting, and any Yahoo can be a shareholder. They get up there and you stand in line and you could ask any question in the world. How that would have gone at D23. Because you can't rip on him too much because then he gets so much sympathy points. And if he knows his stuff well, you can turn that into just such a positive for your image just by standing up there and answering questions.
Yeah, but he can't do. The problem he has, and part of it's his own making, a fair chunk of it's his own making, but part of it's just the culture around it, is he says something like, after you watch Dumbo with your kids and they go to bed, you may want to watch something that's more focused for you.
Right.
And then they're like, he hates Disney. He doesn't think adults can watch Disney movies, which isn't what he said. He's trying to make a point that you might like Disney movies and something that's more adult.
Right. There's a way to make that point to Disney fans that he doesn't quite get yet.
Right. And it's not, I don't think if Disney fans could kind of get inside his head and how he really feels about things, I don't think it would be as, well, if you're being fair, it would be as controversial. He doesn't convey them. He doesn't know he doesn't think about Walt's quotes that he can step up on, accidentally say the opposite thing of, even though it's not necessarily intentional or what he really believes.
But that's what we expect of our CEO. We expect our CEO to be steeped in Walt and that whole thing.
Well, and I mean, I think that's why, kudos to Bob Iger, but no one person has ever been able to lead this company except Bob Iger. It's always been at least a duopoly when it's been run well.
So what you're saying is bring back Jeffrey Katzenberg.
No, but I think it wouldn't be the worst thing if there was a president or COO or something who could talk the talk,
That's a good point. That is a great point. I mean, Michael Eisner came in.
I don't want to say be a figurehead, but be a figurehead, right? We all love Stan Lee creating Marvel Comics. He never ran Marvel Comics. He didn't run the business of it. He created the content. And I think that's what we expected when Bob Iger left. What that transition period was, okay, Bob Iger's going to be creative, and Bob Chapek will run the business and kind of get his handle on things. But I think it's pretty clear that, Bob Chapek is probably a good businessman, but he's not a great, not a great Hollywood guy.
Do you think?
And people are allowed to have strengths and weaknesses. I mean, and that's one of the interesting elements of this whole dynamic.
Because it's okay to have someone who can translate Wall Street speak to Disney fan speak, especially in a world where by law they have to have the Wall Street stuff open to the public. Mm-hmm. It's okay to have someone who can say, okay, but here's what we're going to do for fun. Here's the, forget those stupid Wall Street people don't know anything. I mean, I say that, but that's what, here's all the money we're going to spend on this. And it's the reason I jumped on is because we don't know Bob Chapek's vision for parks. We just don't, because he can't do it. There will be one. I mean, right now it's yield management and
I think we learned it at the expo. It's what lies beyond Big Thunder Mountain.
well, but those are huge expansion projects, right?
I know. I'm not being sarcastic. That's
Right.
his vision,
But
and he can't get there yet.
And there's some, there's some things we can't talk about yet that are being whispered about that would be transformative if they can get the funding. So,
but let me lay out here my biggest frustration with Iger, and it's continuing with Chapek, and that is there is this continual pitch and hype of the way technology is going to improve my Disney parks experience. And I'm sorry, the Disney company, for me, and I get the impression based upon kind of the speak out there, it isn't measuring up. The technology still isn't quite. I mean, when we went, we could supposedly use this to open our door of our hotel, and most of the time I would end up still using my classic Magic Band because it wouldn't be able to work with the phone. And, ever since the dawn of time, I've heard about how my consumer choices as a Disney fan were going to shape my experiences in the Disney park. I mean, and Iger's come and gone, and now we have Chapek, and he's continuing this same speak. And so, for me at least, I feel like a lot of the focus is there, and that continually lets me down. And when that seems to be the showpiece, that's when I start to get really concerned as a fan.
Well, and I will say, as someone who stays in a lot of hotels, I always do the mobile check-in, and it is 30% across all hotel brands. But one thing they learned with Disney Plus was it's hard to build technology in-house. And there's been major changes in who runs technology at Disney in the last 2 years. And I don't know if we're going to see I don't know the result. I'm not confident based off of my 40 years on this planet where it's never worked right. But it's so for so many people it's a negative as opposed to positive. And mobile order being like the one exception.
Yeah, I was going to say I will say that mobile checkout this time was a dream, come true. It was fantastic. The first time I tried it, it was not as hot about a year and a half ago or so. But this trip, it was a fantastic, very smooth experience. Mobile checkout, as far mobile ordering as far as food went, is a dynamic that I would have loved when I was going to the parks with my infant son. That would have been just such a game changer for me. So they don't completely fail.
No, but I think what they learned with Disney Plus is you can.
But I still don't get. But I mean, just push notifications. For example, I can't believe that all these years later, if I'm at a Disney park and they have a super awesome cupcake, I don't get a push alert because it's crap.
No one's saying it's not crap. We all know it is. The app sucks. But with Disney Plus is they wanted to do a streaming service, right? They had Watch ESPN and Disney Now and all that stuff. And they realized they weren't good at it. And that's why they spent billions of dollars to acquire BAMTech. For the sole reason is that they weren't acquiring, MLB rights. They were acquiring the ability to create a streaming service. Mm-hmm. And not that Disney Plus has not had issues, but compared, it's a lot better than it would have been if they tried to build it themselves.
I think it's on par with other streaming services in my experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that and they all. I mean, obviously Netflix has their own. HBO Max, I believe, uses, a different company. They have a different back end that they licensed out. And Peacock stinks. And so, I think, I can't place where I heard it. So I don't know if I don't want to get too much in detail because I don't know where I heard it from. But basically, they're like, yeah, we know sometimes you just got to acquire technology and acquire the folks that can make technology. And I think that's a difference because the problem with Disney technology, they've always been, Disney technology, and then they try and do something crazy, right? And they don't have the skill set to do it. And I hate to bring down anyone at that unit, but they don't. And it's never worked right. I mean, the Magic Band Plus is cute, but it's pointless. And
Can I make a quick point? If Disney is interested in a 24-hour streaming channel and would like to acquire some technology, I am most definitely for sale.
But talking about the
your skill set.
Dude, you need. Oh, I totally forgot what I was gonna talk about. Oh man. Oh well. Must not have been that important. But no, like this is, by the way, just so you know, behind the scenes, this is kind of what happens around the water cooler here at LP. We debate and discuss the more dry aspects of Disney fandom, but
this is not the first nor the last time we will have this conversation.
No, but, and for those of you wondering, Doobie and I have been writing about the Disney company now since 1999. And so we've kind of been through it. We were there through the years of Disneyland Resort under Paul Pressler, when there was a lot of concern over cost cutting and long-term impact on the creative elements, and how much Imagineering was, kind of handcuffed, was the dialogue that was out there among the internet. So it feels like a cyclical for me. This time period right now feels so very cyclical, in that a lot of the arguments that we heard when we were first starting Laughing Place kind of feel like they're coming back around again. It's a very interesting as a fan.
I think too that perspective gives you the sort of like, this too shall pass, because I think unlike other companies that could fail, Disney has too many people that care about it, and it's too valuable in terms of its historical sort of bedrock, that it would ever truly fail. It could go very poorly, and because it's not like Kodak, where it's a technology company. It's not Toys R Us, which is a retail that took on too much debt. And so, if it has been proven time and time again, if the quality of the content, whether that's theme park or movies or television, stinks, Disney will make a change one way or the other. Someone will realize your stuff stinks, we need to get new blood in, and it'll happen. Grammar will out.
All right, peeps. This has been a fun discussion. As you may have seen in a banner down there, we often do a show called Inside LP. We did one after Chapek's, I believe we did one after Chapek's Q&A. And this is the kind of talk that often happens there. So if you ever see Inside LP pop up on your notifications, you may want to check that out. And again, Laughing Place TV, if you just leave that on 24 hours a day, you won't miss any of this stuff. I just wanted to end this by once again showing the Fantasmic, which restarts in Florida in 2 days. It's that's so exciting. In 2 days it'll restart.
That's the weird thing. In the midst of all the disappointment and frustration and yada yada, you have so much exciting and fun stuff still happening. I mean, we've got Tron on the horizon. We've got, Fantasmic just now returning to Walt Disney World.
Is now 2.5 months away.
I had so much fun with the Bounty Hunter thing. It's got glitches and challenges, but I had fun, and I'm looking forward to more of that kind of stuff. And Harmonious wasn't met well, and we know it's going away. So it's
and kudos to them taking the write off on that. I mean, that's going to impact the balance sheet. And I always think it's funny every time around this time. I think of how Haunted Mansion Holiday was approved and instigated by Paul Pressler, and here we are, this many years later, and it stood the test of time. Even when times are rough, good ideas still come out.
Let us not forget the most important thing of all. Disney launched a new cruise ship this year and has already talked about the next one. So nothing is more important.
And the one after that.
Yeah. What's the deal? Have we done an Inside LP on Disney buying the biggest ship in the world? What is? We need to do something on that. All right, guys. We are going to close this out, and that would be nice too, Jeannie. We're going to close this out by showing you the Fantasmic B-roll again. Launches in 2 days. We got a media event tomorrow. It's going to be on. We're going to cover it as much as we can on Laughing Place TV. The train is coming back soon. We hope they continue to test it at Walt Disney World. So if you want to go watch it on our YouTube channel with full audio, it's there. But for those of you who are too lazy to click a button, here it comes again without audio, and this will be the last thing you see on this show. Thanks so much for tuning in. This would help. This would help more. Since it doesn't have audio, we can still talk over it.
What do you think, Ben?
Oh, bubbles, yeah.
And this is why Ben is not typically on the show.
Can I just ask, why do people not like them? I love the bubbles.
It's just way too long. It's not. If it was like a quarter of the length, it would be fine. But it just, I get your trick. You know, I get that you have projection.
Look at Aladdin.
That's
Aladdin
cool.
looks great.
That is
Frozen,
so cool.
Elsa. That move needs a name. I guess it's the Elsa.
The Frozen Crackle.
I love
In
this.
the water.
I love Moana stomping in the water there.
Something very
That's
cool.
funny because if you know the history of this version of Fantasmic, which I don't want to get into, but if you do, that's funny.
And you can see what's happening on the mountain in the background. Looks very cool. Snow White's still here. Most beautiful from all of them, my wife.
He's so happy. He's so happy Snow White is still here.
And that
Does
laser,
that look like a sword to you? Like, or do you think that's a different snake?
I think it's different.
I didn't know.
That's a brave little tailor.
Seven with one blow.
In California, he doesn't have a sword anymore.
Really?
7 with 1 blow.
Yeah, he uses like magic to kind of. do it.
That's so
It's
smart.
like the waters kind of participate more.
Coming up in just a couple hours, we have Disney Trivia Live right here on however you're watching us with my son Gideon and I. And then coming up tomorrow, I believe, is Marvel time.
Yeah, I would just say follow us tomorrow because you never know when interesting things may happen.
You
Laughing
bet.
Place TV. Stay tuned on Laughing Place TV and obviously Laughing Place Twitter and all that stuff. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We will see you in the future.